Hello and welcome. I'm Christine Lee. Welcome to today's show. Bear with me. My voice is sounding super sexy today. So if you've watched that Friends episode where Phoebe gets a cold and like her voice is apparently like super attractive to everybody, I'm going to play that narrative in my head and say my voice sounds awesome. So hopefully this awesomeness will only continue for the next day or so, or just today. And then I'll be back to my even more amazing normal self. All right, so today we're going to talk about a hiring ninja skill that I want to tell you about. And the cool thing is that this ninja skill is something that can actually apply to not only work, but for the rest of your life, with people. And so I'm going to start off by sharing a favorite quote of mine that I've learned. And it's called, "When people tell you who they are, listen." And so what that means is that when people act a certain way and they show you certain behaviors, that's people telling you who they are. And what usually happens to a lot of us is that when the behavior is positive, we're like, yay, that's great. But when it's negative, or maybe it's giving you signs and they're telling you who they are and it's something you don't want to see, we make all sorts of excuses for it. And now the context in which I'm talking about this is going to be in the scenario of hiring somebody. So I will go through that, and I'm going to break this down into 3 different scenarios: a before, a during, and an after in terms of the hiring life cycle. So you can see different glimmers of how people show up, and that's them telling you who they are. And sometimes we're going to be like, no, that's not it. That's not really who you are, even though you're acting it and saying it. You walk like a duck, you quack like a duck, but you are not a duck. And that's kind of the way we play it sometimes, even probably for our own protection, right? It's our own defense mechanisms coming into play. But so let's kind of dissect that a little bit, because it's kind of fun once you start seeing the signs of it. So in the context of an interview, right? That's the before you hire. Okay, so people start coming in. For us, when it comes to the hiring process, they start the hiring process the minute they make their first inquiry, the minute they reach out to us, the minute we know that they exist, which is through a phone call, an email, they submitted a resume, responded to a job post, all of that. We're taking all of that into consideration, although they might think that their interview starts when they first meet us for the first interview. That is so not true, because during that whole process, they are showing up. During that whole process, especially the times when they are not thinking that they're being interviewed, is the true version of who they are. Of course, people are going to put their best foot forward, but guess what? We're not always on our A game. So we want to see the true self, and we would rather hire somebody, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, knowing who they are as a baseline and saying that's worst case scenario, and then helping them improve and hoping for, the best and better version. So, all right. How does that show up in an interview? Well, number 1, here's an easy one. When somebody is late, okay, somebody trots into your office and they might have the best excuse in the world. Like, we talked about this in our previous show. I couldn't find the office. And yeah, maybe your office is tucked in a weird corner and you have to make 3 crazy turns that nobody would find on their first try. But someone who is super prepared would leave some wiggle room and be on time. I know that if it's something that was extremely important to me, I'll make sure I put in buffer times to arrive at a location, and there's really no excuses. I mean, it's got to be something major. So again, don't take, I'm late too lightly, especially you're looking for that in an admin most critically. And then agent, not that it's not important, but certainly you would absolutely, without a doubt, require that of an admin. And then agent, they're kind of prone to that. But again, you don't want to make that an excuse for them. Another thing is that when they show up, and even in how they are posturing themselves, how they present themselves, their energy, when they bring that to the table in your interview, maybe they just had a bad day, or maybe it'll get better. That's a good one. Maybe it'll get better. They're in the interview right now, right? Like, this is their best shot. This is like the dating phase, right? And it's like saying, during our dating phase, it was like a living hell, but I'm sure once we get married, he or she will turn around. Once we get married, it'll be fantastic. Heck no. It's going downhill from there. Well, I don't want to be all depressing like that, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's our best foot forward. It's not getting exponentially better from there. It's like either equal or you're elevating it, but it is not a flip of the switch because we popped the question. Things are going to transform. Same thing with hiring. It is not going to get better because you hired them. They are supposed to put their best foot forward during the interview process and don't make excuses. If their energy is low, if they can't put their sentences together, if they aren't open or they're closed off, don't make excuses. That's people telling you through their behaviors who they are, and see it for what it is. You might say, oh, I really like them and they're not that organized, but I know they'll get their stuff together. Like, for example, an admin hire. Yeah, no, I really, really liked them. And, you know, yeah, they didn't seem that organized and they seemed like they had stuff going everywhere. And there's really, honestly, no sign of organization. But I am sure they're going to make a great admin. I'm sure they're going to be super organized because they said they would and they seem like such a great person. It is not about them being a great person. It's about them being them, right? If that person is naturally not super detail or organized or naturally not high energy, that's going to be a no for sales and a no for admin, depending on the role and what you need from them. But don't make excuses. When people tell you who they are, listen. Also, during the interview process, if people are answering your questions and they're like talking in total victim language, oh, da, 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 and it's because of this, and it was not my fault, or it's because of this, and oh, so such and such person, you know, made me do that, or if it weren't for them, I'd be such and such. You know, it's like the blame game, right? That's them showing up as who they are, and don't have this pity party for them, like, oh, you know, if it weren't for that situation, I'm sure they would be so much better. No, they are on their best behavior at your interview. It does not get better. Okay, so yeah, you got the gist with the interview examples. Now, during, which means once you've hired them, they're onboarding the team or they are, already integrated into your team. When they start showing up, and again, they are not following directions or they just don't, follow or meet any of the expectations. That's just not important to them. And especially like in the first few weeks, that should still be honeymoon phase. That should still be, I want to either dress to impress or, be on my best behavior. If they're not showing up in ways that you would expect somebody to, don't make excuses. I know you just went through the horrendous hiring process of trying to find somebody and, wondering if they're going to be the right fit or not. But even if all that work was put in, that does not make them a better fit or a better candidate. It just makes it even harder for you to make the choice later when that reality doesn't fade. So if the person is not engaging or they're not a culture fit, maybe they passed through the certain checkpoints and radar that you had in your interview process, and all of a sudden you're like, where did this person come from? Well, back to the saying, they're telling you who they are. When people tell you who they are, listen, okay? You're not making that narrative up for them. Just you're seeing it for what it is. When people don't have a clue about what you're doing, and they don't have the capacity to absorb the information, and it's super clear, they're telling you who they are. When they consistently show up, disinterested or just more about themselves, or they are not willing to listen and they are set in their own ways and their way is better. They don't need to follow your tools, your training, your methods. They can do it their own way, even if it disrupts everybody else. Then they're showing up as who they are. So listen to that. What are they really telling you? Not what you want to hear, but what are they telling you? Now, also another interesting aspect of this is the after, right? Certainly as you go through businesses in life, there's going to be parting of ways, whether it's good reasons or bad reasons or neutral reasons. It just happens. And so when I've been very intrigued by how you part as friends and in the way they do it. Are they honorable? Are they communicative? Are they open and honest? And I've seen it both ways and in all shades in the middle. So I'll give you a couple examples. One extreme is somebody plotting and just going, behind your back and doing things. And then, oh yeah, and then you're parting ways, right? The way they showed up when they did that was deceitful, conniving, not trustworthy, and you would never do business with them again. So they're showing up, they're telling you who they are, so just listen. Now, if they are wanting to part ways and they come, or maybe it's a life situation or just a change of season for them, whatever it is that's going on in their life, and they're open and honest with you. Hey, I've been thinking about this. This is what's going on in my life. I want to share it with you, discuss it with you. Here's my challenges. Here's where I want to be. How can we get there together? Maybe it's that type of language. And then you guys realize, hey, our paths have, split off, but let's part as friends and let's have a 30, 60, 90-day transition plan to make it a win for everybody. And they do it in the most honorable, open, and helpful way possible. Would you do business with them again? Heck yeah, because your road and paths can cross somewhere in the future. Life is cool and funny that way. And so things never end. Things always circle back for better or for worse. So again, from that scenario, when people tell you who they are, even when they're kind of going out the door for now, keep that in mind and see them for how they're behaving, what they're saying, and how they're delivering, the result or the action. And so as you go through the process, building relationships with people, and I was in a conversation with a gal earlier this week, they're talking about relationships, whether male, female, boyfriend, girlfriend, it doesn't matter. They do show up and they do tell you who they are without actually saying, this is who I am, through their actions. Listen, because they are telling you every single day over and over again who they are. And you're not going to change a tiger's stripe to a good extent, right? I mean, they've got to want it to change it. You can't be the one that wants it more than them and forces it on them. It's just not going to work. So it goes both for personal and professional. When people tell you who they are, it is so important to listen. And that's just one of the things, many, approaches and just things that you need to be aware of as you're growing your business, as you're hiring people on, whether it's agent, admin, leadership, leaders of leaders, and when you're telling people who they are, what are you saying? How are you showing up? Kind of flip that mirror back on yourself. And it's a great way to reflect and improve, how you're coming about, what messages you're sending. And so if you want to grow your business, it's really all about the people that you surround yourself with, whether it's you and one admin or you with 20 agents and admin, it's the same fundamental principles. And so if you would like to have an honest conversation on how to grow your business, and as a result, doing it the right way, being able to make more and work less, things that the top 1% have figured out and cracked the code on, and you want to experience that for yourself and grow your business in a magnificent way, whether it's leveling up your business through just ramping up pure just business volume, or maybe you need a little bit of a remodel, some house cleaning, some reconstruction, because that is perfectly natural. Every successful business goes through creative destruction and reconstruction and innovation. That's all part of it. And it's fun and it's beautiful if you see it as what it is. So if you want to have an honest conversation and see how you can have an amazing business to make more while working less, then let's chat. Go to seizethemarket.com/talk. That's seizethemarket.com/talk. And we'll just do a deep dive into your business, look at what's working, what's not, and really just, be honest and show you some great ways to help not reinvent the wheel, save you time, and help you take it to the next level. Thanks so much. I appreciate you watching. And until next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.